In further investigation of the topic of people giving woo-woo explanations to damn near everything, today we have the dark. Things are called dark usually for one of two reasons. One is that they absorb almost all the light that falls upon them, and so they look dark to our eyes because no light is reflected back to them. An example of this type of dark would be a charcoal briquette. A second reason is that some things just don't interact with light at all. Light goes right through them. Interstellar space is dark for this reason, sort of dark by default. The topic comes up because of the discovery of a planet called TRES 2b. TRES 2b is 718 light-years away, and has the distinction of being the darkest extrasolar object ever observed. David Kipping of the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics describes it this way. TRES 2b is considerably less reflective than black acrylic paint, so it is truly an alien world. Well, that was all it took. Whereas my reaction was, a Jupiter-sized charcoal briquette, that's kind of cool. The woo-woos couldn't resist wooing all over the story. I saw 4 different explanations, if I can dignify them by that term, explaining what TRES 2b actually is. The first says that TRES 2b is made of antimatter, and that we shouldn't go there because if we did, we'd explode. In this explanation, we find out that because antimatter has opposite properties to matter, it's dark. The second is that TRES 2b is made of dark matter. And yes, by this I mean what physicists call dark matter, about which I'll have more to say in a moment. The third is that TRES 2b is dark because it was hidden from us by aliens who didn't want us to find out about it. Luckily, we spotted it in time. And the fourth is that TRES 2b is hell. No, I'm not making this up. Well, you just opened the floodgates now, didn't you, Dr. Kipping? The first 2 explanations, again dignifying them by a term they don't really deserve, left me with a gigantic bruise on my forehead from all the face plants that I did while reading about them. At the risk of insulting my listeners' intelligence, allow me to explain 2 things. First of all, antimatter's opposite properties have nothing to do with regular matter being light and antimatter being dark. If that was true, then every time a kindergartner pulled the black crayon out of the box, he'd explode in a flash of gamma rays. The other is that dark matter is dark because of the second reason, which is that it doesn't interact with much of anything, including light. So the idea of an entire planet made of the stuff is kind of ridiculous. And besides, physicists still haven't proven that dark matter exists. So if they found an entire planet made of the stuff, you'd think it would kind of make headlines all over the world, wouldn't you? Excuse me for a moment. Sorry about that, got a little carried away there. But I will reiterate something that I've said here before, which is that if you are going to use scientific terms, you damn well better figure out what they mean before you start blathering on about them. Or at least have the curiosity to read what Wikipedia has to say about it. In fact, there's an entire page on dark matter which begins as follows. The name refers to the fact that it does not emit or interact with electromagnetic radiation, such as light, and thus is invisible to the entire electromagnetic spectrum. And I won't even address the whole secret alien base and hell idea, except to mention that if either of those is true, then it's a good thing that TRES 2b is 718 light-years away, which should come as some reassurance, meaning that the evil aliens and/or Satan, depending on which version you went for, are going to take a long time to get here. To put things in perspective, the fastest human-made vehicle ever made, Voyager 1, travels at 16 kilometers per second, which seems like a good clip. But the universe is big. At that speed, to get to TRES 2b would take 11 million years. In any case, I suppose it all has to do with how you look at the world. For me, science is weird and counterintuitive and interesting enough. You don't need to add a bunch of woo-woo explanations in order to make it more interesting. So, thus endeth today's rant. I will end with an admonishment that the next time you barbecue, when you take out the charcoal briquettes, you may want to wear gloves because I hear some of them are made of antimatter. Can't be too careful. If you enjoyed this, please give us a thumbs up. The resources are down there, and please subscribe. Thanks.